All the money they chase, oh, it go fade away. Why you don't go love your brother? Why you don't go love your sister? Oh. Why you don't go love your neighbor? Cause everything go fade away. Fade away. Fade away. Welcome to Zongo.
Rat race, no escape from the cycle. Tell mama pray for me, race for survival. Paid up the piper, drop in pain with a biro. Slave to the system, listing numbers on my title. Near misses could have left me missing out the lineup. Now I stay spitting lyricism, kisses from a sniper. Paint pictures because I haven't got rhymer. One call for final paint brush strokes of revival of the soul focus, goal for survival. Disciple on this lonely road, going through the cycle. Through the motions, maneuver through the cipher, through the city streets, to the beast of Babylon despise us. Them no like us, and we no like them. Them a parasite, monetize the struggle, so we know the line. What's it worth trying to sum it up in subtle rhymes? Something timeless could never be forever rhyme. Yeah.
Everything will fade away.
So there you have it. That is Zongo Brigade, K.O.G and the Zongo Brigade this evening joining us on African Voices TV show, the show where we discuss African issues and successes of Africans from the diaspora and Africans at home. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming as well. I'm so pleased that tonight Bilo has given me the reins. So I'm your host tonight. My name is Chiwe. And of course, you've got Bilo.
Hello, everyone.
You've got Matthias on guitar. He's from Zongo, K.O.G and the Zongo Brigade.
Hiya.
That's Franz.
Hi. Also Franz Von, a.k.a. Franz.
It's all lit up in the studio tonight. And we've also got Kweku, who is...
from Ghana. My name is Kweku of Ghana, yeah.
Kweku of Ghana. So you've probably seen Kweku's name written down as K.O.G. I've only learned today that it's Kweku of Ghana. So that's K.O.G and the Zongo Brigade that we've got tonight. Thank you very much for coming to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Lovely. So first and foremost, I'm really excited about one thing. You started off in Sheffield, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, we're still in Sheffield.
That's a good one.
Still in Sheffield, but you're growing bigger than Sheffield right now. And talk to us about your journey.
Well, the journey started in the developing world. I will learn that today as well. Well, I come from Jamaica. Kweku's from Ghana. Matthias originally from Chile. Yeah,
Half Chile. Remember from Chile.
Yeah. Big in Chile still.
You're still big in Chile, yeah.
And we've met in Sheffield, and music's definitely started in Sheffield. But you can explain a bit more, Kweku.
Yeah, well, the music, we've always wanted to do this kind of music where it's been just that freedom where we could work on our strengths, because we've never had any kind of musical training. So meeting Franz, and it started as a jam, like a few people came together and were like, oh, let's play this kind of African groove music and see where it will take us, because we don't know. And then as it became a band, then it became like people started liking it. And we're like, well, let's do it because it's Zongo. Zongo means ghetto, like unrefined, undefined, you know, the slums where the music comes from, where, you know, Zongo, where you take tins, you know, anything and just hit it and make it into music. And those were the grooves that we started with, and people joined, and people were like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" And it was a guy called Phil Robinson, and then we had people like Shalina who came in and helped us, and our families also helped us. So we had time to be able to have it as a jam, and then slowly it became a band, and people just loved the whole movement of it.
The jam was really just vibes and energy. We're just working off vibes really, and that just seems to translate to the music, so people sort of just latch onto it a bit quicker. It's just like just vibes, energy.
So I mean, it's very impressive. Again, Sheffield just built something in you guys. You took what you had from elsewhere, brought it in, and now I was just reading what you're actually calling your music, how you described your music. It's quite rich. It says the interpretation of genuine African music, fused with energy and laced with funk, reggae, jazz, and music from all corners of the world. So literally you have a global appeal, and you are targeting a global audience and bringing in the African fusion to the culture.
But talking of that though, sorry to interrupt here. So how will you describe your music? Are you more of Afrobeat? The reason why I'm asking that, because France here from Jamaica, where dancehall or bashment, rap music is more popular than you being from Ghana, where right now Afrobeat is kind of on top of the world, if I can put it that way. So where do you guys see yourself?
More afro-fusion, because it's African music then fused with anything. So the genres we've got there's probably more that we could add, that we bring into the mix really. So it's like better term is afro-fusion, I'd say.
So we got like a Latin influence, which is also originally an Afro influence. Do you know what I mean? So when you talk about Afrobeat, and I know what you're talking about, is like it's a popular culture kind of music that has taken over Africa, which is really big. But we grew up watching live bands. That's why we have, there's 8 of us, 9 of us, 10 of us. We love the whole live feel and the whole live energy. So we play those things like proper high life 1975 music, but then it's mixed with the Jamaican bit of dancehall. So we could be singing high life, and in the middle of the song we could just stop and go into a dancehall bit. And that freedom that music gives us, that we have kind of created, is what we buzz about, that like we can just do opera and then just go straight into something high life, very traditional, and people seem to like it because the world is not static anymore. People are mixing up with different sorts of people, so it's more a global reach, like you say, world music more.
So I have seen you in concert. I've seen you perform at Soul Africa Festival, and I recently saw you performing at the Calabash, was it called, where you had the African West African music. And I will be the first one to say I actually agree. Your sort of music is the kind that could be from a fusion of everything. And it's very traditional and authentic to something I can't really point at and say this is traditional this or traditional that. But it does have the African bits to it.
Yeah, that's like our foundation, kind of. We always, because Matthias loves African music, he loves African music, and I love African music. So we use that as the template and then build stuff off it. So like he's a rapper, so Franz raps, he writes, he's a poet, he does all these things. So we try and make the music and create space and incorporate everything, our strengths. Without your strengths, what else are you going to build on? So
and it makes it so much fun, because the song could start off like a reggae song, and then all of a sudden it's straight to hip hop.
Somewhere. Everybody's happy about it.
But the underlying is always African music. And
So over the years, how will you describe the collaboration, being together, as you mentioned earlier? You're about 8 people with different ideas, different culture or background, but I believe you've used that as an opportunity to come together.
Oh, yeah, well,
it's because the foundation is African music. It's easier to just take everything else and like, well, we've got the foundation, so that's where we're working from. So it's easier for people to work together, and it just comes out nicely.
Yeah, and also I guess the one of the main reasons why we have you today is because you've got an album coming up.
Yes.
Wahala Wahala.
Yes.
So Wahala Wahala is coming up, but you're also doing a bit of a tour, and one of the stops you're going to actually be at is Sheffield,
Our
which is
hometown.
where you guys were
Yes,
born as K.O.G and the Zongo Brigade.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. I mean, historically, you've really done quite a lot as far as the music scene is concerned, but we also appreciate that there's been a change to the lineup of the band.
Yeah.
Can you talk to your Sheffield audiences and just tell them exactly what happened, and then we can move on to the band?
Well, the band has always been kind of a collective, you know, and between 2000 and kind of 15 and 16, we had a stable number of people. But before them, prior to that, like I was saying, it's always been like a collective, and people came in, people go, because it's really hard to have like an 8-piece band, like 9-piece band, let alone. But then people came in and committed and said, look, we're just gonna try and see how these work. And like everything in life, you create it, and then you have other ideas, and some things happen, people have to move on, people have to move away to other places and have other ideas, but then it's always been a collective, and it's always had that appeal, and we've been lucky enough to have a good booking agent in Wemfood who have stood by us, you know, and said, look, you guys, what you bring to the world, the amount of multiculturalism, the amount of energy, you know, because we're different kind of, like we said, we've never been trained musically. So we just bring what we bring, the energy and the voice from the ghettos, these songs that our grandparents have taught us, these lullabies and these ideas that you see, those are the things we write, reality.
And there's people who believe in us, and they always push us, they always like encourage us to like, just take it forward. And we sort of look at it like, it's almost like a train that's left the station. Once it's on its journey, you can't really stop it. So people on and off the train, but it's always moving.
Always moving.
Yeah, so.
And then we had Matthias, and you know, and then the group, and then Matthias them came to join from Leeds, and these
guys are trained musicians.
They are trained musicians.
So Matthias, the guitarist, can we hear from you as well? Yeah. What
You've been quiet in the corner, Matthias. Do you want some water?
So we met Kweku in France when the changeover happened in band members. I'm a part of a big Afrobeat collective called Mansion of Snakes in Leeds, which is like a 12-piece, and they needed 6 musicians. We knew Wormfood as well, so Wormfood contacted us and explained the situation. We had like a week to learn the set, and one rehearsal, and then straight in a secret garden party.
Which is one of the biggest festivals in England.
And that was like make or break. Like if we did well, then we'd be guaranteed the rest of the summer dates. But if we didn't go well, that would be like they just cancelled the date. So fortunately, it went well.
That's why we've got you here tonight.
It's just been a whirlwind since joining. Like been all over Europe. Like had just the best experience recording this album.
So how many countries in Europe have you toured? I realized that from previous stuff I've read.
I'm not European.
Been France a lot. We're from the developing. These new places are just been.
Wales is in Europe, isn't it? Wales.
So Wales, yeah, definitely. We've done Wales a lot. Scotland. There's been like France a lot. We've done a lot in France, Holland.
Went to Spain.
I think you did Germany at some point, didn't
Germany,
you?
yeah.
See? I'm doing my reading.
We've done, and it's just so much support from Sheffield. We can't we're just indebted in it. Is that what it is? Like Sheffield actually made us like believing in our music, and a lot of people, like too many names to mention, just because it was just weird music from nowhere. All of a sudden, these guys were mixing sukus. We're talking about Papa Wemba earlier. Sukus with hip hop.
You go back to the history now.
Exactly.
That's where the music is.
Exactly. Sukus to hip hop, like you know, which you know, it's hard, you know, to think of it and do it live, and that was our strength. The things that we could do, which we always focused as frontmen, me and Franz, we can't do these things. These guys
like having a musician that you're just like saying, "Oh, I want to go from hip hop to like soukous. Can you just get something in there?" That's do you know what I mean? So really.
So
thankful.
we owe it to Sheffield, and this album, you know, is memories of when we got here, and then going back to the things that really happened. You know, some of the stories we'll be talking about some of the little ideas that came into our head. We're all from home and coming here, and the culture just accepting us. You know, up north is different from being in London. The whole, as in the diaspora, is even different. The whole,
it's amazing. It's quite a myriad of things.
Exactly.
So one thing I think that also stands out for me in terms of your influences is that you've all got individual careers. I mean, I think especially you two, the leads of the band.
Yeah.
You've got individual careers, and Franz Vaughan is actually of Jamaican heritage, but you've been to Africa, and I saw some images of you doing some work there. Can you talk us through that?
So me and Kweku went to Ghana. Thanks for that, by the way, bro. So I actually knew someone when I was, for my first time there, which was even made the experience a lot better. And like I met like some of his childhood friends that came and took us in. Everyone welcomed me. Like when the found I was from Jamaica, it was just like, welcome home, brother, and it just felt so amazing. I got the chance to do some of the research that Kweku was doing about
childhood
colonialism in Ghana, how it affected education and stuff like that. So I got to really dive into the deep end and learn a lot while I was there. I got the opportunity to film a music video in one of the busiest markets out there, and also one of the roughest ghetto areas. And
Zongo.
The whole experience was just amazing, and the similarities between Jamaica and Ghana are unbelievable. I kept feeling like I was in Jamaica because it's the first time being there. I've been back to Jamaica a few times, and I'm like, I keep thinking I'm in Jamaica. I know I'm in Ghana, but it's so similar. The culture is really, really similar.
Yeah, Paila.
I just wanted to bring you back to the album again before we go to like your individual careers, as you've mentioned. The Wahala album, which we're going to come into the tours in a minute. But why Wahala? How did you come up with that name?
Well, Matthias, with the song, first of all, the songs itself, like writing the songs.
Oh, right, yeah. No. Well, so first of all, Wahala is, well, it means like struggle.
Yeah.
And with the album, we decided to call it Wahala because we somehow, like, through writing the songs, it was a bit of a struggle. The end result was so joyous that it was like the joy through the struggle.
The reason I'm asking that question, sorry to interrupt, because especially you, K.O.G, being from Ghana, the interpretation of Wahala in our pidgin language
is hustle.
Exactly.
Struggle.
So that's the reason why I want
so
you
that's
to bring
why
that
I want
for you to interpret the word Wahala.
So it's two ways. You know, musically, it was a struggle. Like for 4 years, like we've been saying, we've been on the road. We should have had an album.
Yeah, but now, this is the debut album.
This is the debut album. So first of all, that's a Wahala. That was a lot. We were so close to releasing an album, and then it didn't happen. Which is synonymous in life these days. You go down and you come up, which is Wahala. So, and explaining the whole concept of the album to the musicians, because we couldn't play, and the whole process of doing it, like Matthias was saying,
yeah, it was amazing. Like sing.
I'll just sing the lines and the parts, and like, because I can't write music, like we can't write it, so I'll just come to the studio literally and say, ba ba da 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 da, and they'll literally just have to get it, like, you know. So, but then the basic, the fundamental was the developing world thing we were talking about, how we've been brought up.
The spirit of brotherhood, working together, tirelessly.
And similarities, how his mom used to beat him and how my mom used to beat me is the same, you know, because he's from Jamaica, sorry. Because the same kind of culture, the same kind of, you know, that, and those stories are in the album, like, you know, how, like...
When you've got nothing, you can still be happy, basically, like, that's how we grew up, but, like, the childhood was rough, it was a struggle, but I was still happy. I've got a lot of happy memories, and it's like, I think that's how it is in developing countries as well. There's a lot of struggle, but people always dance, music is always there. And
you know, simple
I find
always have a good
happiness,
time.
actually, a lot more happiness in certain communities that I have experienced myself. I always say, you know what, somebody has to tell me on paper that this is poverty, because my lived experience when I've gone to what would be considered very poverty-stricken area of Zambia, for instance, is that those are the happiest people I've ever
it's so much, you know, you just need these, like, one little thing and people are dancing and
you know, I was just saying a common thing like freezing water, you know, in the freezer, like just freezing water, like the excitement you got from just going to find like you frozen something in your fridge and just it's just exciting. Like little things were so exciting
That you
and
take for granted.
exactly. Like and so.
But that festers creativity, which is what you guys are all about today. So what about the song you just played for us? What's it called? Is it a single that's on the Wahala Wahala?
Oh, this was just a jam. We were just jamming just to say hello and thank you for having us here.
So that was just kind of like introduction, putting us for us to know that it is K.O.G that is here tonight.
Right.
that was putting us at ease as well. So we could just
It's all like it's like a mechanism that works in different. Matthias writes the music. We just tell them the ideas, because without the ideas, then it's not a concept anymore. So
it's a really collaborative process. Right.
So we just tell him like, and we just disturb him. Can you play? No, play this, because it has to be, and they're always ready.
Okay. So how many songs are in this album? This Wahala album?
Is it 14?
14 tracks.
14 tracks.
Yeah.
Wow. And how can people get them? It's like when I know the album is coming out next month.
On the 8th of March. It will be on all platforms. You can grab iTunes, you can stream it on Spotify. It will be on, but
you can check our website, zongomusic.co.uk.
Yeah, zongomusic.co.uk, yeah. We've got a website. Can you?
I know, I'm impressed because
We've got a website. We've got a website.
I love how the little things.
Those little things, you see what I mean?
Website. Right? Like, this is me, my African me has got a website for my art. But you're so talented.
Zongomusic.co.uk.
You should have seen how we struggled.
That was the real one.
That was a real Wahala, yeah. Just making the website by ourselves, like, yo, yeah. So yeah, we are happy with simple life, like just what we like. People complicate their lives, and this album also shows, like, it brings out that kind of playful, and there's a lot of poetry on. There's a mixture, because we've always had this kind of. People will always see us to be this energetic band, which we love, because we love energy, positive energy, and bringing energy. But there's a side of us like that, like stories where our parents told us, like where we can't play far. You want to just tell people, like, by the fireside stories that you were advised, and you want to put it all into the album and show that kind of cultural crossover. And then say, look, I'm in the diaspora, but now. This is our roots.
So I'm going to come back and tap into that, because we'll get deeper into the album. Unfortunately, that's just gone really quickly this particular time. But just sort of to round off this particular session before we come back later to talk about the album. You've talked about Papa Wemba, you've talked about Sukus, you've talked about heritage and grandparents and stuff. Who else is your influence in the UK now?
At the moment, I'm listening to pretty much all the bands that Shabaka Hutchings is a part of. He's just a huge.
You're not going to give me the same answer.
Well, I've got a few different ones that I like.
Who are you thinking of then?
The Comet's coming. That's like superb music. Really. I've got a lot of hip hop influences, but I can't. There's just so many to just.
That are UK
at the moment,
based,
you mean at the moment
at the
something
moment, current and
okay.
UK based, yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a couple of there's our friends Nubian Twist. I always say there's a band called Nubian Twist. There's you guys Viper Time album. There's Tete de Poire, another North base. We are all about, as well as being in the north of England and pushing world music as well.
I'll have to stop you there. We're coming back to that. So this is the first session. Thank you very much for that one. Let's come back to the next session. We'll take a break.
Yeah.
Okay.